If there's one thing that I've learned about packing for weddings after all these years of shooting them, it's that you should pack as much as you need. Maybe I should say you should only pack as much as you need. Yeah, I think that's better. Let me explain. People who have been shooting weddings for a long time know that weddings are actually pretty formulaic. They follow a timeline, they follow a structure, there really isn't any surprises. Or at least if it all goes well, there shouldn't be any huge surprises. There are, some small variables here and there. For example, maybe we don't have as much time as we wanted to get A, B, and C during the day, so we have to make up for it at a later part of the day. Those are things that happen on a wedding day. And that's the mindset that I have when it comes to packing gear. You want all your standard stuff. You want everything to be structured. You know where they are. You know what you're using. But you're gonna bring a couple things that, are gonna be helping you on those times where things get a little bit unpredictable. So let's start off with the standard stuff, right? We have the camera, lens, gimbal, if you want. If you don't like gimbal, you go handheld, drone, and then lights, and of course, audio. Standard stuff, let's go through them. For the camera body, I'm shooting on the Canon C70, which is what I'm using to film myself. It's a workhorse, something that I've been using since 2021 when I got it. It shoots 4K, 60 frames per second. The internal ND filters is something that is amazing for especially running gun shooting when you're shooting documentaries or when you're shooting things like weddings. You never know what the lighting looks like for the next location or the next hour or the next minute. Sometimes it gets really bright when there's no clouds in the sky. Sometimes the sun gets a little shy and it hides behind the clouds, and then your lighting changes. Having the ND filters literally at a push of a button is such a huge convenience for me, especially when you have to quickly change settings in order to capture the moment. And that's a great example of how gear needs to be standard, needs to be predictable, but also be able to work under unpredictable situations. And on the body, I always have my Sigma 24-70. I used to use the Tamron version, and then that broke, and then now I have the Sigma version. 24-70 is such a great range of focal lengths. It just covers everything from the wide end to the close-up to the tight. This lens can cover pretty much any situation. Next up is the DJI RS3 Pro. That's the gimbal of choice that I use on wedding days. Hands down, one of the best features about the RS3 is auto calibration mode. The gimbal can really dial itself into the payload that you're using. For example, if you switch out a lens or you switch out a camera body, the weight and payload is a little different. The gimbal is able to just automatically calibrate its motor settings to the payload that you're using. So you yourself don't need to go in and dial in all the different settings of the motors in the gimbal. If you don't want to, the gimbal can just do it by itself. Another feature that is really key is the auto locking feature. When you are packing things up and when you just need a second to move around and you're not shooting anything, just being able to lock that gimbal up and having your camera just sit in place, not moving around, not wiggling and bouncing around is so helpful. That way I can just move around to different locations very easily without having to counterbalance a wobbling camera body. I'm not gonna explain my whole gimbal setup. I actually have a whole dedicated video up here on this side. If you click that little card right there, you can see my entire gimbal rig. Next up is the DJI Mavic 3 Classic. One thing that I love about the Mavic 3 is the ability to shoot DJI log. You have better dynamic range when it comes to shooting log. And battery life is pretty good. I don't really find myself using more than 2, if not just 1 battery for the whole shoot. When it comes to weddings, I'm just getting very wide landscapes and establishing shots of the venue, the ceremony setup. So my use of a drone on a wedding day is very limited. Now my drone and my accessories for the drone goes inside of this DJI bag / backpack because it kind of unfolds and unzips into a whole backpack that you can use. And when I'm packing it, I put everything into that bag and I just put it in my car. And that's it. So that was the whole camera section, all the camera stuff out of the way. Next is gonna be the audio section. The first thing that I wanna talk about is the Tascam recorders that I use. The first one is the big one, it's a chunky one. It's the Tascam DR40X. And this recorder is gonna exclusively be living with the DJ soundboard. The DJ soundboard has a whole bunch of different inputs and outputs, and you have to really be flexible with what you're given. Uh-oh, the baby is awake. We have a newborn, she's 3 months old. I will be right back. Wow. Hello, YouTube. So we're gonna try and do a YouTube video while I am trying to take care of a baby. The Tascam DR40X has dual XLRs at the bottom. XLRs are great because they don't come out when you yank them. You have to physically push lever, and then you can take off the cable. No accidents there, so you don't lose audio in the middle of recording something. Now for the cables themselves, I come prepared. I don't know what's left on his board after he's done connecting everything else. Usually I'm the last person that connects to his board, so I come prepared. I have 4 different options for him. Sometimes I just connect to the back of the speaker if there isn't any room on the board. It's just an XLR out from the main speaker that captures most of everything. I also attach a little keychain loop thing on the top of the recorder so that I can potentially hang it on like a light stand or hang it on something so that's not dangling off of a table or hanging off of something in case there's no room to actually put down the recorder. The second audio recorder that I use is going to be the Tascam DR10L. This is a really small little pocket recorder that goes with the groom. That sits inside of his pocket, and I have a lavalier mic attached to it, and that just clips onto the groom's lapel near the flower side, near the boutonniere side on the wedding day. The next recorder is going to be this Sony ICD UX560. And this little recorder comes in super clutch. I actually learned this trick that I'm about to teach you from Matt Johnson. He has one of his YouTube videos that talks about this. What he does is he takes this little recorder and pretend this is the microphone, and this is a mic sleeve. This is a mic sleeve that you can buy off of Amazon, I think. And you just slip this onto a handheld microphone. And then this little recorder is small enough that it fits on the inside of the sleeve and then attaches straight onto the handheld mic. And so whenever you're doing a ceremony, you're doing speeches, and guests or someone speaking into the microphone, they are also going to be conveniently speaking right into your little recorder. And then to prevent people from accidentally stopping or touching any buttons, there's a little hold button right here, and then you can just flip it to hold, and then it will lock all the buttons, and no one can press any buttons. And the last mic that I use is gonna be the DJI Mic 2. What I love about these recorders is that it's so quick to clip onto a lapel or clip onto outside of a pocket. For example, during the speeches part of the night, you can quickly clip this mic onto someone's jacket or hand it over to someone or clip it on someone's shirt in order to capture some source of audio for the speeches. And it also records 32-bit float, which is amazing because then you don't have to worry about people yelling into the mic and clipping it potentially. You will have all that information saved when you are editing with it. And those are the 4 different audio recorders that I use for the wedding day. 5, I guess, if you include the second recorder from the DJI Mic 2s. Now we're gonna move on to the lighting part. What kind of lights do I bring to the wedding day? And it's very simple. I just bring one light. My whole objective with lighting is gonna be get a big source of light, as big a source as possible, but it also needs to be light. It can't be super duper heavy. I can't be messing around with like 2 or 3 different lights. You're not gonna have time, you don't wanna bring that much equipment, and sometimes you might not even have enough space to put more than one light at a time. The light that I've been using for weddings for a long time now is the Godox LD150R. It's a nice, chunky, heavy, big LED panel of a light, and it's a 150 watt light, and it works really well. The only downsides to it is that, one, it is very heavy. The one that I got doesn't automatically come with a softbox, so what I do is actually I clip on diffusion paper on the front of the barn doors, and that is a little bit slow. It slows down my process because it's not very easy to do. It does take a little bit of fiddling to do. But once it's set up, it does output a good amount of light, and I'm able to really combat some of the poor lighting in some venues. But I just got the Godox F200 bicolor LED matte, which is a lot thinner, a lot lighter, and it also comes with its own softbox. And setting up isn't really hard. It's actually pretty quick and easy. And it also outputs 200 watts of power versus the LD150, which only outputs 150 watts. I also bring a C-stand, and on my C-stand, these are the newer C-stands, and they have caster wheels at the bottom. They come sold separately, but I bought the caster wheels because being able to roll the light around on wheels is so much easier than picking the entire thing up and carrying it around the venue, around the reception area. It just makes everything so much faster. And on a wedding day, when you're moving fast, it's all about flexibility. It's all about convenience. It's all about how fast can you get things going. Because if you take too long, you might potentially miss a moment. And that wraps it up for lighting. Those are all the standard stuff that I bring: lighting, camera, audio. This next section is going to be called the extras. These are things that I bring just in case something doesn't go exactly as planned. Number one, we have batteries. Feel like I didn't have to add this on, but I would say it just in case. You don't know how long the day is going to go or what conditions you're going to be shooting in, how much that's going to stress the camera in terms of like, battery life and stuff like that. So you bring extra batteries. Speaking of batteries, you also want to bring regular batteries like AAA, AA, the 9-volt ones. Anything that your electronics might use or someone else's electronics might use, having actual batteries is really important. So that's why I keep a small little Ziploc bag full of different types of batteries, just in case we need to pull it out in an emergency. The next one is gaff tape. Gaff tape is really, really important. This goes into the next thing, which is extension cords. Extension cords and also like splitters are really important to have on the day of, because you never know where you're gonna find an outlet. Sometimes the outlet's on the other side of the room, or it's in a very inconvenient place. The electrical cord that comes with your light might not be long enough to reach that outlet that's like really out of the place. Usually the outlets around the reception area is all plugged in and all used up by the venue itself and also the DJ in order to connect his speakers, his DJ board, his computer, all the stuff that DJs need to plug into, and usually that doesn't leave you with very much options. As a filmmaker, you need to be able to get to a power source, to an outlet. So bringing extension cords, I bring a 25-foot and a 50-foot, just in case that you need to reach a very, very far away outlet. And then the gaff tape is used to tape down that extension cord. You never want to have loose extension cord at all, anywhere in the when you're shooting, because you never know if a waiter or a guest or someone, even a photographer, might trip over the extension cord, and that could be a lawsuit there. That could be, something on your insurance that you might need to pay. So bringing a roll of gaff tape is a must. You also want gaff tape just to sometimes tape things. You never know when you need a roll of gaff tape. It's very versatile, and it comes in handy a lot more than you might think. The next thing I bring are charging cables. Charging cables like USB-C to USB-C to USB-A, micro USB, to lightning. These are very important cables to bring just in case you need to actually charge like a battery or something, or a phone. I also make sure to have different lengths, like 3-foot, 5-foot, and also have a 10-foot in my Pelican case. Along with charging cables, I also bring a little charging brick so that in case I need to actually plug something into the wall, I have that as well. Next up, I have a multi-tool. Pretty straightforward. You never know when you're gonna need to unscrew something or tighten down something. You just wanna have it handy. I bought this generic one off of Amazon. I know SmallRig sells a really good multi-tool. They have like a 7-in-1, 5-in-1 type of multi-tool, which are really good as well. The next thing that I have is an SD card holder. You always want to be prepared in case of an emergency. You want to have backup SD cards in case a card gets full or a memory card gets corrupted. That would suck. That would really suck. Hopefully it doesn't happen. In a case of an emergency, you want backup SD cards. The SD cards that I use are the Lexar Pros. Haven't had an issue with them. I have a bunch of 256 gigabyte cards that I use for the main recording. And for proxies, I have a few 128 gigabyte cards. I make sure to have every single card labeled so that I know which card went where and which cards have been used or have not been used, and you can easily identify them. And I also have a couple CF Express Type B cards for the R5 Mark II. And the last thing that I bring, and this is totally extra, this is just for my personal use, is a behind the scenes camera, and that's the Insta360 ONE-R. And that's a really old 360 camera that I like to use because it captures both sides, behind and also in front of me, and then I can use that to capture behind the scenes content. And for that camera, I have a little shoulder strap thing that goes over my clothes, and then it sits onto my shoulder right here, and then records my POV of the camera. You can just shoot, point the camera anywhere, record, and then you can reposition it in post, and then you can capture pretty much everything. And that's pretty much all the gear that I pack with me to go on a wedding shoot. You never want to bring more than you need. Again, my philosophy when it comes to gear is that pack as much as you need, and only pack as much as you need. Have all your standard stuff ready to go, because everything on a wedding day is very straightforward. There's not much that changes, and your gear should reflect that. You shouldn't be packing a whole ton of stuff because you probably won't even get to a whole ton of stuff. But you do need to bring things in preparation of when things don't go according to plan. All right, that's it for this video. Let me know if you have any other questions down below in the comments, and anything else that you might want to know about shooting weddings and events. Yeah, until the next one, my name is Alex Chung, and I'll see you later. Bye.